In this video, I am going to live out a childhood dream. When I started this channel around 3 years ago doing rental karting, the goal was always to make my way up to racing cars. I never thought I'd actually do it, but I always had that goal in mind every time I was out on track. Well, in today's video we actually fulfill a lifelong dream as I make my racing debut here at Brands Hatch. I'll be racing with Colin in the Team Octane Mazda 2 by 2 Racing UK, the same car you've been seeing on the channel recently, as we race in the second round of the MSVT Trackday Trophy at the legendary Brands Hatch GP track. I've built my racecraft through karting, I've built my confidence on track doing track days and the Javelin Sprint series, but it's finally time to put the two together in this 45-minute multi-class endurance race. How well can I perform on track? Will the pressure get to me, or can I show some true promising pace around a track I've never been around before? Of course, there's only one way to find out. Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video where today you'll see we're at a very different looking paddock to what we usually at. Today we're at Brands Hatch, a new track that I've never been to before. Of course, why are we at Brands Hatch? Well, today we're actually going to be taking part in my very first car race. It's actually going to happen after years of karting, after having this dream since I was a little kid playing Gran Turismo on the original PlayStation. This is it, we're finally going to be racing. As you've seen a few videos before, we're in the Team Octane 2 Racing UK Mazda 2. Yeah, this is it. This is it. We've done the testing at Brighton, we've had the first drive at Alton, we've done many track days and a lot of karting, and today's the day where we're finally going to have a race. So why are we here? What championship are we doing? We're in the MSVT Trackday Trophy, not the Trackday Championship, the completely different championship. But yeah, we're here, so it's a 25-minute qualifying along with a 45-minute race, sharing the car with Colin, who's also a key member of the 2 Racing UK Team Octane crew. He's the main driver for the year. Obviously we've met him at Alton and we've done karting with him at Manchester, so we know him quite well. But yeah, this is it. There's not really much to say. I'm quite nervous, obviously, as I will be, and yeah, it's just going to be a lot of cars on track. Finally going to be racing, so yeah, we'll cut to qualifying anyway, we'll see how that goes, and then yeah, I'll see you after qualifying and before the bigger race. And just like that, the Trackday Trophy competitors are being called up to the assembly area to take part in the noise test and of course to complete qualifying for the feature race later on in the day. So right here we're just taking the noise test then, and well, if you try and listen, yeah, I've not got a microphone hooked up or anything, but that is indeed the noise test being done. Yeah, the car hardly making any noise at all, so cleanly getting through the noise test. And again, just like that, we are finally going out on track for the first time then for qualifying. And I was coming out first because the idea was just to let me warm the car up, let me get used to being on track in racing conditions. Even coming out of qualifying, I was so shocked at how quickly everyone was getting on it. Like that mini ahead, I wasn't sort of expecting it. As in karting, especially in the owner kart stuff, it's usually pretty calm on the outlap as you get all the tyres and brakes warmed up. I'm guessing with the car stuff, because we're all running on semi-slicks, they probably don't need to be as warmed up as hard as actual slicks do. Just something that I wasn't quite expecting coming out the pits for the first time. And like I say, because this is a brand new track to me as well, I'm also having to get used to the track itself. So if we skip forward a little bit then, as we're coming under the bridge, we're going to let this green Fiesta on the left-hand side through. He's in the same class as us, in Class D, so it's going to be a good marker for me to see where I should be braking, where I should be turning into. As we can see here, the car gets really twitchy on the rear. As you can see with the steering wheel, trying to correct it quite a bit. Turns out the car, not only did we set it up wrong, some of the suspension components had been a little bit loose during this qualifying session, which we didn't realise until after. But as we come up then to our first proper lap, you can see now we're going to get a bit more confident with the car to come down Paddock Hill, which on camera does not do this corner justice at all. If you've been to Brands Hatch, you'll know, but if you haven't, I can tell you now that is a very, very steep hill. As we come up there, we're going to let this Renault Clio on the right hand side come through, and once again it's just learning what gear I should be in, what corner. As you can see here, I'm coming in second and basically using the power of the car to power out instead of the torque of the car, and especially coming down here then as we come into the GP layout. Obviously on the Indy layout, if you've seen, you pretty much go straight on and go right back round to the pit, to the start finish straight. But right here we're going to turn left then coming into the GP layout. So you can see I'm using second, and I'm basically using the power to bring the power up over the hill instead of using the torque of the car. I thought that was quicker. I pretty much did that most of the day, I believe. But we'll see a bit later on how Colin takes each of the corners and what gears he's using as well. As we come through Hawthorne Bend for the second time, you'll see I'm very, very tentative on turning, especially after the last lap where, you know, the back end really did feel really twitchy. Obviously, I don't want to bin the car on, especially on the first proper qualifying lap on the first race. That is really not what I'm here for. I'm here, you know, to gather the experience, not only of the Brands Hatch GP track itself, but obviously of my very first race. So I do want the car to survive going into the race. As we do fast forward a little bit, then coming to the end of lap 1, and you'll see just in the distance, you'll see that green Fiesta that we did let through on our out lap. So we are starting to catch up to it now, which is also managing to bring the confidence into my driving as once again we're coming down Paddock Hill. As we come flying up to Druids then for the third time, you'll notice I'm not braking as hard as what I should be. The aim was to sort of brake at the shadow of the little gantry there, but yeah, not quite braking as hard as I should be. I'm very nervous obviously at this point, so that's probably part of it. And we also got new brake pads on the Mazda 2 as well, so Colin did tell me to try and make sure they get bedded in properly. So yeah, I was also sort of playing through my mind as well. As we fast forward most of this lap, you'll see how many cars are overtaking us. It is a bit daunting being out there, being one of the slowest cars out there on a track that, you know, is housing some very fast cars at the same time. But it's not too bad as long as you're aware of the other cars around you, as long as you're aware of the surroundings, you know, you'll pretty much be alright. Just stick to the racing line and most of the time you'll be alright. As we are now on our final lap then. So the pit board has come out to make us aware that we are coming in this lap. And you'll see then we've got the Fiesta ahead then. We're also trying to keep up with him, but we do skip most of the lap, nothing really much happens. You'll see then we couldn't quite catch up to the Fiesta properly, but like I say, he did create a bit of a gap on the out lap, and to manage to catch up as much as we did, you know, it's given us a bit of confidence. But we do bring it into the pits then to allow Colin to let him do his 3 minimum laps that he has to do. And we swap over to Colin then, who's also not driven on the Brands Hatch GP layout either, so he's also having to learn the track as well as I am. Obviously he's got a lot more racing experience. I'm still trying to learn off him as much as I can, but fortunately when he comes out, there is a safety car out, which obviously you don't want in qualifying because you want to try and push as much as you can and get as many laps in as you can. But so the cause of the safety car is this Honda Civic, who's found himself in the gravel trap, which obviously has to be taken out of, bringing out the safety car. So 2 laps later, we are finally into green flag action for Colin, who can try and set in some laps for himself. Obviously, he's also trying to learn the track as well. He's also going through different gears, staying in second place and is the MX-5 round the outside, which is also in our class. It's a very quick car, some of these MX-5s. But you'll see he's using third then coming into Graham's Bend, and he's also going to use third as well, coming into the GP layout. So Colin's going for the more torquey approach over the more power approach, which is what I was doing. Like I say, it's definitely interesting to see the different styles of driving compared to obviously someone who's very experienced in the car and on the racetrack compared to someone like me, as that Clio, or the 2 Clio should I say, really getting through there as we come up to Paddock Hill. They're going to have an MX-5 around the outside then as he tries it. Looks like he backs out of it at the last minute. Obviously Colin's managed to notice it and he's going to leave the room on the left hand side for it. As there was also a car there, crashed on the left hand side, crashed or span out, I'm not too sure. Yeah, so there's a lot of chaos going on this in the second half of qualifying as the MX-5 does eventually find his way past Colin. And once again, the MX-5 is also in our class, so we've got some very, very stiff competition to deal with. And as Colin comes round the final corner then for the final time here in qualifying, 25 minutes is indeed up as the checkered flag is being waved as Colin goes through the finishing line. So where do we end up then? Well, we end up 39th out of 42 overall, which ain't too bad considering we practically are one of the slowest cars out there. So we're not dead last, and in class we are 18th out of 21st. I've pulled in the quickest lap now with a 2:03.7. Like I say, me or Colin had about 2 laps under the safety car, so you know he didn't get enough time to practice the track. But yeah, we've got a bit of time to chill now before the race, so let's debrief how qualifying went. Right guys, that's qualifying done. Yeah, I've had a bit of a cool down after qualifying after all the stress and running around. It's a pretty scary experience being out there with all different cars flying past you. It's a completely different feeling to a normal track day. I'll say on a normal track day I'm pretty confident, but out there it's a completely different experience. Car's not quite set up as we'd like to it have been done. Coilovers are all set a bit differently. I think we overpressurised the rears, not expecting what the rear is going to be like. Obviously the GP layout is hardly ever ran. So not only to have my race debut and the actual GP layout, you know, is special. Just to run the GP layout alone is special. So yeah, we're not really too sure on how to run the pressures. And yeah, I think one of the plates had come off on the passenger, well, the near side coilover. I think the actual plate for the camber bolts come loose as well. So that's all been tightened up by the mechanics, Sam and Aaron, and obviously Colin as well. So yeah, hopefully we've got a bit of a better setup car for the race. We weren't last, which is the important thing. For the 40th out of 43. So yeah, that's the important bit. We weren't last. But yeah, we've watched a bit more racing out there, and yeah, just about to get ready for the race. 45-minute race. I think I'm starting second, but we'll find out in a sec. But yeah, I think it's just about time to go and enjoy it. Enjoy the first race. Just try and take it all in. Get as much experience as I can. It's even just being in the paddock, you know, is a completely surreal experience over a karting paddock. It's way bigger. It's much more going on. But yeah, this is it now. The next time on track is the time we'll actually be racing. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm just about to enjoy it. It'd be nice to do well, but I'm not expecting to do well. I'm just here to take it all in. But yeah, I'll join you in the car, which I believe Colin will be starting first. And yeah, let's get to the race. And just like that, we are being called to the assembly area while we wait for the British GT race to finish. And talking about the British GT, it is actually fantastic to have a look at these cars up close and personal. They look like incredible machines. The race has finished. It is finally time for the Trackday Trophy race to begin. 45 minutes, Colin's going to start the race and I'm going to finish the race. And this will give you a good idea how many cars are on track for this race. I'm just going to leave this little clip in from the formation lap.
As we continue through the order, Dave Murfitt is next up, then it's the Mike Fletcher and Alex Longdon car, followed by Nick Dughill, who has got alongside him the Colin Ritzberger and Robbie Boot machine. Then
a lot of cars, but it's finally time for the race. As Colin comes around the last few corners then, we are allowed to go as soon as the red light goes out on the main start finish straight. However, because we're so far back, and as you're about to see in a minute, we can't really see the red light, so it's basically a guessing game on when we can start overtaking.
Cars have gone onto the back of the grid. So watch out for that Porsche. Certainly in the hands of Colin Tester, Brandtach instructor, it should make some serious progress over the course of a 45-minute race that has a mandatory pit stop of 2 minutes, slap bang in the middle of the race. So between the 15th and the 30th minute is when the pit window opens. So Jack Wright in the Porsche on pole position has been racing in Trackday Trophy for a very good number of years, but already there's contact in the background by the look of things, and Simon Morris is pitched into the pit wall instantly at the wheel of his Citroen Saxo, having his, I think, second ever race, but he didn't even get to the start line and the Saxo is in the wall. Light damage to it. Hopefully he can get that car out of harm's way. And then Jordan Honeybone is wheel to wheel with the David Chelsky and Dale Wheelton BMW. And there was a little bit of contact.
And as Colin comes down to clearaways then for the first time, he's just waiting for the start. Like I said, you're basically guessing, because we're so far back, when that red light's gonna go out. But as the red light does go out, we do start the race, and you would have saw in that footage then that there was a Saxo that unfortunately had been put into the wall, so the yellow flags are out at the start finish. And I mean, if it is true that it is his second race, really unlucky, and I hope I don't get taken out in my second race that I do. However, back to the job at hand. Unfortunately, Colin does get overtaken by that Fiesta ST down the inside coming into Paddock Hill, so we are down into 36th, and naturally he's also going to start getting overtaken by the quicker cars that were behind, the ones that were disqualified in qualifying, or the ones that got their lap times deleted. So naturally the Porsche and the Lotus find their way through, which does bring us down the order overall, and even that Clio gets passed as well. We are down a position in class, but obviously them three cars weren't in our class because they're much quicker, so we don't lose any positions out of them three in class, so we're technically not racing them. So like I said, this is a multi-class endurance race. But as we coming into the GP lap for the first time, we're going to get overtaken then by the RX-8 on the inside, say down into 40th then, and coming up, we are also going to get done by a Clio as well. So that's our 41st out of 43rd, so that's quite a few positions, lost our 5 positions, which again, it's not really something that we like to see. And skipping to lap 3 then, we have made a couple of positions from a few damaged cars that were pitted in, so we are into 39th, but we're going to get done by the Saxo then. It goes on the outside of Paddock Hill. That is a pretty impressive move, I have to say so, especially watching it back. So it's Colin now, once again we're falling down the order as we're coming into Druids then. Unfortunately we're just going to get done by another Saxo as well, so this is now down into 41st, and we're down 2 positions overall in our class, sorry. So Colin really not finding his feet straight away. I don't think the confidence is quite there. Like I said, he hasn't done this track either like I have. I know he's got a bit more racing experience, but unfortunately he just hasn't done this track either, so I just don't think he's quite getting into gear, because I know Colin is a quick driver. I've seen that he's a quick driver from future races that I've done, so we know he's got the pace, but so he's just not seeming to find his feet straight away in this race. But if we do skip forward into lap 7 then, and we have made a position from someone retiring, but as you can see then, the Saxo number 26 is in front of us. So we start now getting lapped by the quick cars that are in the lead. But Colin is starting to find the pace in the Mazda 2 now, as he's starting to reel in the Saxo as we coming up to Hawthorne then. So he started to reel them in, but these lapped cars are slowly getting in the way, but he's hoping to take advantage of that. So hopefully the Saxo does allow them through, which does also allow us through as well. As we're coming into Westfield curve, MX-5 on the inside, then is also gonna, Saxo is gonna have to give way to the MX-5 as well. As we're coming up to Sheen curve as well, can Colin find any opportunity to get past, as he's going to go around the outside? Then as the Saxo does get seen to get a poor corner, and he does make up the position, so that's a position up overall and of course in class. So Colin now really starting to find his feet in the Mazda, as he's going quite defensive then. Obviously we haven't got a reverse camera, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know whether it was to lap that to let the Lotus lap itself, or to defend from the Saxo, or both. But like I say, Colin now starting to find the pace in the car. And as we skip on over to lap 9, then the pit window has been open for a couple of laps. As you'll notice, we're up into 36th. But if we get the live footage from the pit wall, the pit board has come out to tell Colin to come in. So he's coming in this lap. As you can probably expect now, I'm starting to get dead nervous but dead excited. I'm about to get on track for my first ever race in the next 2 minutes or so. But as you can see now, Colin is still in the car as we get into lap 10. And he's really starting to push that car a lot more now. He's really starting to throw it about. And up ahead then you can see the grey Mazda RX-8 that did overtake us in the first lap. He is now starting to catch up to it. The Mazda RX-8 is in Class C and we are in Class D, so we're not fighting for class position, but we are fighting for overall position. Obviously it'd be nice to finish, especially on track, to finish above a car that is, you know, a class above us. So it would be nice to go and get him as we get done there by that Mazda MX-5, which is in our class, who is lapping us. But if we fast forward the footage then coming towards the end of the lap, as Colin now has really caught up to the Mazda RX-8, but is he going to find an opportunity to pass it before the pits? Well, we're at the same corner he overtook the Saxo a couple of laps ago, but this time unfortunately he isn't going to find an opportunity right here as we come to the penultimate corner. Then he's right behind the RX-8, but with the RX-8 having a bit more power, it is just going to slightly pull away from our Mazda 2 as the car on the left then is going to lap us. But now we are going to come into the pits, and the RX-8 is also coming into the pits as well as the Saxo that is behind us that is fighting for class position. But here we go, we're all in the pits, let's get these drivers swapped. And here we go then, the nerves are high, the adrenaline is pumping. We are out on track for my very first race as we come down Paddock Hill for the first time in the race. Then we know the car is nice and warmed up thanks to Colin, so we know we can start pushing from the offset. And we know that the car is better set up now, better suited for the track. So we, in my mind, I'm trying to tell myself that the car is definitely better to drive. So as soon as we're at these pits, I want to get straight on it, start setting some fast laps and hopefully bring some more positions up. As we come out in position at 36 at 43 after a few more pit stops. And as we get to the end of lap 11, you'll see this little safety pad for the roll cage is starting to peel itself off. I know it came off after the race, but at the time I really didn't realise this had come off. So coming into lap 12, you'd imagine you'd see that quite a bit. Like I say, I'm just concentrating so much on looking ahead. As it falls down, I did hear it. I do hear something rolling about as I look around to the left there. And yeah, like I say, during the race, I just didn't see it at all. But I thought it was just quite funny just to put in the videos. You'll probably notice it rolling around in the passenger footwell. That is why that's there. But as we get towards the end of lap 12 then, we are catching up to this Ford Fiesta ST in front of us. Now this is going to be a third position, and of course he's in our class, so it's also going to be third class position. As we come into the end of lap 12, this is the same Ford Fiesta that had Colin at the very start of the race, so we've caught right back up. As like I said, I'm straight on the pace. I know the car's all warmed up, ready for me to start thrashing about. It's coming through clearways then and coming round at the last corner. I'm going to look down the inside of this Ford Fiesta and see if he's going to create a little gap. Because the ST150 is was quicker in the straights. Unfortunately, I can't quite take advantage of that one. So we're coming to lap 13 then, and a couple more cars have retired, so it has bumped us up into 33rd. A Honda Integra comes out of the pits, and there's also some cars behind us that are about to lap us. So I've left the inside open to allow them to go through. And there's about a couple of them, I believe there's another one will start shooting through as we're at Druids then, and because the Fiesta has to let them through as well, I'm basically going to take advantage and basically cut back the Fiesta to get the position done. So that's us now up into 32nd and 14th in class. So like I say, with these multi-class races, it's great to also try and take advantage of lapping cars, as if a car in front is letting a lapped car through, sometimes you can just take advantage and follow the lapped car through, sort of like karting, as if when that gap creates itself, you basically follow the train through. So we're coming to the end of lap 14 and into lap 15. We're going to look on the left hand side, and unfortunately we are going to get overtaken by the Ford Fiesta 1 litre EcoBoost, or EcoBoom if you know exactly what I mean, but it's going to do me around the outside of Paddock Hill. Unfortunately, that was the position, so we're now down into 33rd and 15th in class. That Ford Fiesta was pretty quick, so I'm surprised it was behind us at this time. Whether they had someone else in the car to begin with, or they had problems throughout the race and it just brought them back. But yeah, that was a really quick Fiesta. I was quite surprised that was actually for position. We skip forward then coming into lap 18. We're going to get this NB MX-5 coming lappers. At the time I thought this was for position, so I'm going to have a little go at it then. So it's going to get us around the outside of Paddock Hill, but I seem to get a better exit coming into Druids. Look down the inside and stay on the inside to try and get my way back through. It's having to force him wide. Because it's forced him wide though, he's going to get a better exit coming down to Graham Hill Bend. And he's got the inside as well. Because he has the inside then, I'll try and brake a little bit early, try and create a switch back then, which somehow I almost managed to do. So we're side by side here then coming into the GP layout. But once again, because it's not my car, I do decide to brake early, which in hindsight was a better thing to do because this wasn't for position. We skip then to the final lap. Nothing really happened at all in the last few laps. I managed to get a nice clear track to myself, which is really nice to sort of bring the nerves down. Yeah, just to let me enjoy the experience of being out on track. Coming into Druids then, here I'm going to let a couple of lapped cars through. It doesn't look like it on camera, but that Porsche did get incredibly close, which is probably the closest I've ever been to a car contact on a track before. So yeah, it was a pretty scary moment. I do go a little bit wide there coming out of Graham Hill Bend. Didn't get any warnings for it, so obviously didn't set any sensors off. But yeah, we're going to skip forward to the end of the race then. The pits, the car, they've all got their hands up. You can't see it on camera, but I knew when they got their hands up, I must have done a pretty good job as we go through the checkered flag to the finish line. And overall, we finished 33rd out of 43rd, and in class we finished 15th out of 21st. So we've made up 3 positions overall, so a good result. Obviously there's a few cars that have retired and a few cars that did have problems, but that's endurance racing. You know, to finish first you must finish. But there it is, my first race done and dusted. So let's debrief the day back in the paddock.
Enjoy that?
Oh, really good actually. After like the first 2 laps of the nerves going, and after that I was loving it after that.
It's like fucking, they turned it just so early.
Yeah. Right, on YouTube, there we go. Very first race completed. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Car was definitely a lot better set up in the race compared to qualifying. So much more confidence in the car. Obviously, it was warmed up as well by the time Colin had done his stint. And yeah, as soon as them first 2 or 3 laps had sort of disappeared and the nerves had gone, yeah, I was loving it. Say over to that Fiesta ST. Had a good battle with that MX-5 as well, halfway through the race, or hopefully halfway through my stint, should I say. But yeah, first race officially done and dusted. I mean, I know I did my hard test and officially call myself a racing driver then, but I mean that's official. Officially, I'm a racing driver. The boyhood dream has come true of racing cars. Yeah, I just want to thank everyone at the 2 Racing UK crew, especially Neil, for giving me this opportunity to race a car. Yeah, the racing doesn't start next weekend. We're back at Alton Park in Rocket Dog Racing's car, so car that we've not driven yet. It's another Mazda 2, but so it's the one that we've not driven. It's pretty much stock compared to the 2s that we have driven. So yeah, going to be a good one. Looking forward to it. Yeah, thank you for watching YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. I need to get home. I'll see you in the next video, Alton Park.